Okay. Hello and welcome everyone. Today I'm going to be reviewing a Game Boy Advance game by the name of Ultimate Spider-Man. It was released in 2005 and had releases on the GameCube, the Game Boy Advance, of course, PlayStation 2, Xbox, Nintendo DS, and even for the PC. For the sake of this review, I'll only be reviewing the Game Boy Advance version of this game. So, if you've played the game, there will be missing content from the Game Boy Advance game that I won't be covering. So just to let you know. Anyways, I worded that incorrectly. I'm sorry. But anyways, let's begin. So, summary of the plot. The plot involves Spider-Man, who's cleaning up the streets, being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man he is, and Venom, who's being hunted down by a man named Trask. The story starts off with Spider-Man doing his usual stuff, and yeah, you beat up bad guys, you clean up the streets and the neighborhood and stuff like that, and then later in the game you get to play as Venom, who's being hunted down by a mercenary called Sable. Her and her goons follow Venom through a sewer and the streets in order to capture him and turn him over to Trask. After Venom's portion, we come back to Spider-Man, who has to stop a bank from being robbed. We stop the robbery and then return to normal life. But later on, Peter Parker goes to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and all's fine until he gets these massive headaches. These headaches notify Peter that Venom is nearby. Peter Parker, who suits up into Spider-Man, confronts Venom inside the museum and chases him in order to stop Venom from killing people. You have to fight him, and of course, Spider-Man is victorious, and Venom escapes. Sometime later, Sable tries to attack Peter Parker, but Peter escapes. Then Venom comes and fights Sable. Venom knocks out Sable and tries to kill her, but then Spider-Man comes in to stop Venom from doing such a thing. Spider-Man emerges victorious, but Sable captures both Spider-Man and Venom and delivers them to Trask. Eddie wakes up in the laboratory and goes to find Peter Parker. And for those who don't know who Eddie is the person inside the symbiote suit named Venom. So yeah, Eddie goes to find Peter Parker and eventually does, but Peter Parker is no longer Peter Parker. He is the vicious Carnage. So yeah, Venom and Carnage fight. After the Carnage is ended, Venom absorbs the Carnage symbiote off of Peter Parker, and Eddie now has full control of the Venom symbiote. Now Venom wants to kill Trask and goes to do so. But, of course, Peter Parker suits up and goes to stop Venom from killing him. So yeah, Spider-Man catches up and beats the stuffing out of Venom. Afterwards, Venom and Trask get arrested by the S.H.I.E.L.D., and Trask gives up some documents. The end. So, that's the summary. Now you're probably wondering, how do I actually feel about this game? The game is very, very good. The combat is satisfying, the animations are great, and the story is pretty dang good. I really like that the story brings up characters that aren't talked about a lot, like Sable or Trask. Who here has actually heard of Sable? What about Trask? No? Not many have. I really like the comic book style of the game. The chapters are labeled by issues, making you feel as if it could really be a comic. The game is wonderful, but I have two problems with it. One problem with the game is, at least for the Game Boy Advance port, is the cut content. We missed some missions that the other versions have and stuff like that. But really, that's really nitpicky because the Game Boy Advance, it's limited in what it can do. So I won't be that person and nitpick it just because it's its hardware is not the best compared to a Game Boy. I mean, to a GameCube, excuse me, to a GameCube or PS2. My second gripe is if you do not collect upgrades, you will have an incredibly hard time getting through the game, especially the boss fights. Like the last fight with Venom is pretty hard, even with max upgrades. So just imagine fighting Venom without him. Oh, and also the part when you're in the Metropolitan Museum. Yeah, when you're chasing through him, when you're chasing through the museum to find Venom, that's annoying because you're timed and enemies are littered in small corridors and even big rooms. They make it hell to get through that maze. And when I say timed, you're given like what 5 seconds to find Venom before he runs away again, and you have to find him again. Yeah, that's annoying. When you have enemies that can shoot you out of the sky, when they can punch you, stagger you, yeah, it's not fun. That part is really not fun. I can say that for the part when you're fighting in the bank, even though it's a little better, in my opinion, they still have the same problem with the enemies being able to shoot you up the sky. Which, really, again, I'm nitpicking because if they didn't give an enemy the ability to shoot you up the sky, then you would be completely broken. But anyways, with all that said, I give it a 9 out of 10. You should play it. You should play this game if you have any of the consoles mentioned. It's really fun, and I think you'll have a kick out of it. Well, thank you for listening to my review. Like if you would like to, comment if you're compelled to, and subscribe to save your game. And as always, have a wonderful day, everyone. I shall see you on the flip side.